What happens when Transformers goes back to its roots, but with a bold new look? You get Transformers Animated, a series that might just be the most underrated in the franchise. Aired from 2007 to 2009, Transformers Animated was produced by Cartoon Network Studios and Hasbro. It ran for 42 episodes over 3 seasons and introduced a fresh art style and a whole new continuity. While it took visual risks, the show stayed true to the original G1 spirit, focusing on transformation itself rather than pushing new toy gimmicks. For the first time since Beast Machines, this was an American-written Transformers series. The war between Autobots and Decepticons is long over, and Optimus Prime isn't the legendary hero yet. He's leading a small repair crew, but when they discover the AllSpark, they cross paths with the feared Megatron and everything changes. The crew crash lands on Earth, and a new adventure begins. If you missed this one when it aired, it's worth going back. With that said, let's get right into it. A small repair crew of 5, consisting of team leader Optimus Prime, hotshot Bumblebee, lumbering Bulkhead, ninja loner Prowl, and grumpy Cybertronian war veteran and medic Ratchet, find an artifact called the AllSpark among meteors when clearing a space bridge in an asteroid field. The crew is attacked by Decepticons, including Megatron and Starscream, and is refused assistance from Cybertron. The substance melts even Autobot metal. Before more tests can be done, most Autobots head to Sumdac Tower to warn Isaac. Meltdown, formerly Prometheus Black, arrives first, melting past security and triggering alarms. Inside Bumblebee, Sari warns her dad about sabotage moments before Meltdown bursts in. Outside, Bumblebee hits the tower's force field. Ratchet opens a gap, but Colossus Rhodes arrives and fights the Autobots. Bulkhead gets slammed into the gap, trapping Prowl. Prime sends Bumblebee and Sari in alone. Bumblebee uses elevator cables to climb, while Sari tries to lower the force field. Meanwhile, Meltdown confronts Sumdac, furious and unhinged, leads the hunt for the AllSpark. Isaac rushes out and confesses to the damaged Autobots that he rebuilt Megatron. Bulkhead and Prowl are upset, but Optimus says they have bigger problems. They can't beat the Decepticons in this condition and no longer have the key to repair themselves. Isaac suggests his lab might still have residual energy from the key, and they decide to try it. Meanwhile, Ratchet prepares the Autobot ship and detects Black Arachnia approaching with Sari. Turns out Sari was stalling her all along, hoping Black Arachnia lashes out, but Ratchet surfaces the ship under them. Prime gives the key back to Sari, who repairs everyone. Megatron survives, and now holds Isaac Sumdac prisoner. The Autobots help repair Detroit's highways after their battle with the Decepticons, but ungrateful citizens complain about the traffic delays. When Optimus Prime tries to calm them, they flee in fear. Bulkhead misses being seen as heroes, but Prime insists they still are. They wonder why Bumblebee isn't helping. Turns out, Bumblebee is stuck at Sumdac Tower as Sari's assistant. Running her father's company is stressful, and Sari realizes how much pressure he was under. Porter C. Powell criticizes her spending on searching for her missing father, but Sari shuts him down and reminds him she's in charge. Just then, Bumblebee points to a TV news alert about an unidentified flying object heading for Detroit. The Autobots rush to investigate, but are blocked by Captain Fanzone, until it's revealed that the craft is Autobot. Out step Sentinel Prime, Jazz, and Ultra Magnus. Optimus salutes Magnus, who immediately orders the area quarantined from organics. Jazz is curious about Earth, but Sentinel warns him that humans spit slime. Sentinel is assigned to decontaminate the long-lost Autobot crew, a job he enjoys a bit too much until Jazz intervenes and tells him to ease up. Once freed, the Autobots are told the elite guard came to retrieve the AllSpark. Optimus explains it was scattered in the battle with Megatron, but Sentinel accuses him of lying, claiming there's no evidence Decepticons were ever on Earth. Ratchet defends Optimus as a hero who kept the AllSpark from Megatron, while Bulkhead nearly decks Sentinel after his insults. Ultra Magnus stops the argument and orders Optimus to take him and Sentinel to where the AllSpark scattered, leaving Jazz to supervise the rest. As they drive off in flashy alternate modes, Sentinel's snowplow monster truck causing road damage, Sentinel ignores traffic laws, rams Optimus aside, and ends up crashing off a broken bridge. Meanwhile, in a mine, the Decepticons hide from sensors. Lugnut wants to fight, but literally falls apart. Megatron reveals a new plan: conquer Cybertron using a space bridge. He downloaded partial blueprints from the Autobot ship and needs Sumdac to finish them. Though Sumdac protests, a damaged drone reveals a piece of the AllSpark in its circuitry. Megatron realizes the AllSpark still exists. At Sumdac Systems, an AllSpark shard embedded in a police drone assembly line causes chaos, but Powell refuses to intervene. Sari sneaks onto the Autobot ship using the key, trips an alarm, and scares Jazz, who fears contamination. Optimus's team explains she's harmless. Sari reports the problem, but Jazz says they must stay put. Bumblebee argues that Magnus didn't specify where, so Jazz joins them at the plant. On Dinobot Island, Optimus warns about the Dinobots, but Sentinel is dismissive, until Grimlock's flaming sword forces him back. Ultra Magnus uses his hammer to summon lightning, scaring the Dinobots off. At the plant, police drones overwhelm the Autobots until Magnus arrives. Optimus's team breaks in, and Sari shuts down the line with the key, but it gets stuck. Magnus smashes the drones while Prime destroys the console, revealing a shard of the AllSpark. Magnus acknowledges Optimus's leadership. Sentinel protests, but is finally silenced. Later, Powell locks Sari out, claiming she has no legal identity, no papers, no records, no proof she even exists. Sari sadly packs her belongings at Sumdac Tower, upset about Powell taking over and kicking her out. Powell smugly proves her complaints right and introduces her room's new occupant, Henry Masterson, the unstable headmaster. Sari protests, but Powell dismisses her and even claims Sparkplug and Tutor Bot as company property. Meanwhile, at a press conference, Sentinel Prime arrogantly hogs the spotlight, insults humans, and constantly belittles Optimus, who struggles to ease public concern but can't get a word in. Watching the event, Powell tells Masterson he wants military tech profits and expects big results. Masterson wants to test Headmaster units on new Autobots, specifically Sentinel Prime. He fakes a Decepticon alert in Old Detroit, and Fanzone alerts the Primes. They roll out, but Sentinel drives recklessly, ignoring Earth's traffic rules. Sari, now living at the Autobots factory, is miserable. Bulkhead and Bumblebee try to cheer her up with loud distractions and wild guesses about her mysterious past, but nothing helps. Sentinel reaches the scene of the fake Decepticon sighting, yanks a stop sign from his shoulder, and is soon joined by Optimus and the police. When Optimus tries to offer help, Sentinel rudely silences him, choosing to search alone because he doesn't need help from a scrub. As night falls, Sentinel begins panicking over shadows, using his elite guard weapons on stray cats. While distracted, he's ambushed by Masterson, who uses the Headmaster unit to hijack Sentinel's body. Soon, Sentinel calls Optimus, claiming it was a false alarm and asking him to come alone. When Optimus arrives, he finds Sentinel's head and bursts into laughter. Desperate, Sentinel begs for help recovering his body, without Ultra Magnus finding out. Optimus sarcastically guesses Sentinel only asked for help because his opinion doesn't matter, but Sentinel wisely stays silent. Later, Optimus visits Sumdac Tower, hiding Sentinel's head under a tree trunk. Powell smugly denies Masterson is there, but Optimus secretly intercepts Powell's call to Masterson and traces it to a docked cargo ship. At night, Optimus and Sentinel arrive at the docks to retrieve Sentinel's body. Suddenly, a crate bursts open, revealing Sparkplug and Tutor Bot, now equipped with mini Headmaster units. Sentinel mocks them until they fire powerful lasers, forcing Optimus to take cover while Sentinel's head helplessly bounces around. When the ship starts to depart, Optimus leaps into action, dodging laser fire, ramping off the dock, transforming midair and launching himself onto the hull with a rocket axe boost. On board, they search for Sentinel's body until it finds them. Masterson, controlling the body, shoves Optimus with the shield. Sentinel is shocked by its power, and Masterson smugly reveals his upgrades. Wielding Sentinel's lance and a spiky shield, he battles Optimus, who loses his axe and gets pinned. Thinking fast, Optimus rips off Sentinel's arm and uses it as a weapon, severing the Headmaster unit. As Masterson flees, Optimus kicks Sentinel's head into him like a soccer ball. Sentinel is horrified. Optimus just shrugs. Back on shore, Masterson is arrested by Fanzone, but Porter C. Powell arrives with bad news. Since the ship was Sumdac Systems property, the robots have no legal rights, and it all happened in international waters. Masterson walks free, leaving everyone frustrated. At the factory, Bumblebee and Bulkhead plan another wild idea to cheer up Sari, but Prowl stops them and suggests they simply listen. Finally trying this, they hear Sari express her fears about her missing father, losing her home, and not knowing who she truly is. Unsure what to say, they reassure her that they'll always be there for her. The next day on the Elite Guard ship, Ultra Magnus hears rumors of Sentinel losing his head. Sentinel stays silent while Optimus covers for him, saying they resolved the crisis together. Magnus commends them both. As they walk off, Sentinel forces out a "thank you," and Optimus notes that must have been painful. Sentinel agrees and awkwardly offers a handshake. Ironhide sends a distress call from space, saying he's under Decepticon attack and lost a space bridge. Ultra Magnus notes this is just one of many such reports. Jazz believes it's due to rumors that Megatron survived, and Sentinel can't resist mocking Optimus, the source of those rumors. Magnus decides all Earth-based Autobots must leave. Optimus protests, but Magnus insists that spreading news of Megatron's survival would cause panic and embolden the enemy. Sentinel adds fuel by threatening Optimus with an inquiry, which Prime sees as a court-martial. Outnumbered, Optimus has no choice but to obey. At the factory, Sari is devastated at the thought of her friends leaving. Sentinel arrives, belittles everyone, and formally inducts Optimus's team into the war effort. He offers to restore Optimus's military standing if Optimus lies and obeys Magnus. Optimus refuses, so Sentinel arrests him. Meanwhile, Starscream reactivates on a garbage scow. Horrified, he can't sense any Decepticon signals, not even his own. Realizing he's still alive, he takes off, furious at Megatron. At the Decepticon base, Megatron is pleased when Blitzwing and Lugnut successfully test Sumdac's Decepticon signal dampener. However, he immediately demands more, specifically a subspace communicator to contact his forces in deep space and call off the disorganized attacks until his space bridge is ready. When Sumdac hesitates, saying Earth tech is too primitive for tachyon transmission, Megatron coldly replies they'll just steal it from the Elite Guard ship. Meanwhile, the Autobots are unsure what to do with Sari now that she's been evicted and officially doesn't exist. They turn to the only stable human they know, Captain Fanzone, while admitting that most of their human acquaintances are criminals like Meltdown and Nanosec. On the Elite Guard ship, Sentinel continues pestering Optimus to lie about the Decepticons and back Ultra Magnus's all-clear narrative. Optimus refuses, believing the truth matters. During this, Lugnut and Blitzwing dig under the ship's force field and steal the tachyon transmitter without detection, though they're secretly tailed by the recently revived Starscream. Back at base, Starscream reveals himself, and Megatron quickly blasts and kills him. Lugnut confirms Starscream's spark is offline, and they toss his body in the river. Floating downstream, Starscream revives again, discovering he no longer has a spark but is alive thanks to an AllSpark fragment in his head, making him effectively immortal. Thrilled, he declares Megatron's reign over, then promptly dies again trying to attack him. After repeated deaths, Starscream finally decides he needs a better strategy. Sensing another AllSpark shard nearby, he finds it lodged in an old dump truck and hatches a new plan. At the elite guard ship, tensions rise as Ultra Magnus pushes Optimus Prime to cooperate with their orders. Suddenly, Jazz detects a spike in AllSpark energy. Another shard has appeared. Magnus and Jazz leave to investigate, ordering Sentinel to stay behind and keep Optimus in check. As Sentinel whines, Optimus realizes that their only way of finding shards before was through Sari's key. He scans the area and discovers Starscream nearby. Optimus tries to warn Magnus, but Sentinel threatens to arrest him. Undeterred, Optimus knocks Sentinel down, slaps him in stasis cuffs, eliciting a high-pitched squeal, and races off. Meanwhile, the other Autobots watch Sari try to interview Captain Fanzone, who clearly dislikes kids. Optimus contacts his team and orders them to meet him on the way to the train, where Starscream has planted the shard as bait for Megatron. As Starscream waits to spring his trap on Megatron, Magnus and Jazz arrive at the train, just as Megatron and Blitzwing show up. Megatron quickly realizes it's a trap, while Jazz and Magnus struggle to remove the shard. An energy surge blasts them off the train. Optimus and his crew arrive, with Prowl detaching the passenger cars and Bumblebee racing with Sari to use the key to extract the shard. They succeed, but the train nearly crashes until Ratchet and Bulkhead, with help from Optimus, pull off a daring rescue. In the skies, an angry Starscream confronts Megatron, only to be promptly knocked down to Earth. He lands right in front of Magnus and Sentinel, confirming the Decepticon presence. Sentinel panics, and in the confusion, Starscream blasts Ultra Magnus at point-blank range and escapes with the shard. The Autobots engage, but Starscream overpowers them, until Optimus hatches a plan, aided by Jazz convincing Sentinel to cooperate. Sentinel distracts Starscream, while Optimus cuffs him with stasis locks. Starscream is hauled off to the elite guard ship, his mouth riveted shut to prevent more monologuing. With proof of Decepticons on Earth, Ultra Magnus acknowledges Optimus was right all along. Despite Sentinel's push for charges, Magnus commends Optimus's actions and assigns his team to remain on Earth to find the AllSpark shards and Decepticons. The elite guard returns to Cybertron. Sari is thrilled the Autobots are staying, while Fanzone reluctantly agrees to hang out with her. Elsewhere, Megatron declares that his agent on Cybertron will help them conquer from within once their space bridge tech is complete, and Cybertron will fall. Sari, frustrated with Powell's control over Sumdac systems, visits the imprisoned Meltdown seeking dirt on Powell. Meltdown admits Powell never left a traceable crime but offers to kill him if Sari breaks him out, which she refuses. That night, the Dinobots attack the prison, abducting Meltdown in his indestructible crystalline cell. They deliver him to Black Arachnia on Dinobot Island, revealing she orchestrated the breakout. She wants Meltdown's help to stabilize her techno-organic body using AllSpark shards. Intrigued, Meltdown agrees, demanding his old lab be restored. Meanwhile, Sari and Bumblebee see news of the prison break and suspect trouble. Optimus Prime learns of the escape and fears an alliance between their enemies. Sari insists Powell must be stopped, but Optimus focuses on recapturing Meltdown. Determined, Sari plans to act on her own, unaware she may cross paths with Black Arachnia's dangerous alliance. Meltdown, now free, prepares for alterations to serve his and Black Arachnia's goals. On Dinobot Island, Meltdown is delivered to Black Arachnia, who now rules over the Dinobots, having charmed them into worshipping her as Buko Racha. After finding Meltdown's old lab and files, Black Arachnia demands he help purge the organic matter from her body. Draining Grimlock's energy has empowered her enough to crack Meltdown's supposedly indestructible prison cell, leaving him no choice but to obey. Meanwhile, in Detroit, Captain Fanzone investigates the prison break. Powell, panicked by Meltdown's escape, shows security footage of Sari's visit and accuses her of plotting his murder. Fanzone questions Powell's access to the footage, but Powell dodges the issue. The Autobots analyzing the footage spot the Dinobots' reflection on Meltdown's cell, confirming their involvement. As the team prepares to investigate Dinobot Island, Prowl and Bumblebee argue over Bumblebee's inability to stay quiet, sparking a bet. This playful rivalry continues as Optimus, Prowl, and Bumblebee head toward another clash with Black Arachnia. On Dinobot Island, the Autobots split up to investigate, but Bumblebee is quickly caught in Black Arachnia's web and deactivated. Prowl is also taken out, prompting Optimus to confront Black Arachnia, only to be attacked by a love-struck Grimlock under her command. Black Arachnia poisons the two Autobots with cyber venom and demands Optimus help Grimlock find Meltdown's genetic modifier to save them. On the mainland, Optimus and Grimlock search Meltdown's old lab but face resistance from Powell, until Grimlock intimidates him. With the device secured, they return to the island, where Meltdown betrays Black Arachnia, aiming to strip away her mechanical parts to create a fully organic transformer. As Optimus and Grimlock fight Meltdown's enhanced mutants, Grimlock's reckless sword use worsens the chaos. Finally, Swoop and Snarl arrive, neutralizing the mutants and turning the tide of battle. Optimus extinguishes the fire and halts the experiment just in time, saving Black Arachnia from being torn apart. Meltdown attacks, but when his body contacts the genetic modifier, he is overloaded with energy and melts into a pool of liquid, vanishing through the lab floor. Black Arachnia fakes weakness and tricks Grimlock into attacking Optimus so she can escape. Too late, Grimlock realizes she's gone and begs her to return. Optimus, dejected, finds Bumblebee and Prowl still alive and administers the antidote Black Arachnia secretly left behind. Bumblebee boasts he was silent for 2 megacycles, though Prowl argues unconsciousness doesn't count. Meanwhile, Powell demands Optimus be arrested, but Fanzone refuses and instead threatens Powell. Optimus wonders if some good remains in Black Arachnia. In the lab ruins, Meltdown's liquid form begins to reform around his empty suit, revealing he may have survived once again. At the Autobot base, Prowl smoothly completes his obstacle course, prompting Sari to try it herself, only to get knocked flat by a crane arm. As Prowl comforts her, Bulkhead bursts in, annoyed by a dripping sound, which turns out to be an oil leak in Bumblebee's arm. Bumblebee denies anything's wrong, refusing Ratchet's offer to fix it. Before things escalate, Optimus interrupts with news footage showing Mixmaster and Scrapper stealing oil. The Autobots quickly roll out to stop them before Megatron can reach them first. Optimus also stops Sari from tagging along, reminding her how dangerous it was last time and that she's no match for massive robots. After they leave, Bumblebee unknowingly leaves a leaking oil trail behind, and Sari realizes she's home alone. She celebrates with chocolate, wild crane rides, and another failed attempt at Prowl's obstacle course, this time at full speed, with predictably chaotic results. As the Autobots track Mixmaster and Scrapper, Bumblebee's constant oil leak drives Bulkhead mad, until he slaps an "I love Autobots" sticker over the leak, which seems to work. Unfortunately, Scrapper and Mixmaster spot the trail and follow it, hoping it leads to more of the good stuff. Meanwhile, Megatron locates the pair and sends Blitzwing to bring them in, without alerting the Autobots. Back at the factory, the Constructicons arrive. Mixmaster melts the door down, entering unnoticed as Sari listens to music with headphones, missing the alarm. Elsewhere, the Autobots' search comes up empty. Bumblebee mistakes a normal vehicle for Mixmaster, and Bulkhead thinks he sees Blitzwing but isn't sure. Bumblebee calls Sari, but Scrapper accidentally crushes her phone. Blitzwing spots the Autobots, and despite orders, Hothead and random Blitzwing attack. As civilians clog the on-ramp, Optimus orders Ratchet and Bumblebee to evacuate people while he, Bulkhead, and Prowl confront Blitzwing head-on. At the plant, Sari holds a council of war with her teddy bear and decides to fight them off herself. Arming herself with hockey pads, she puts on a helmet and picks up a hockey stick. As the intruders explore the rec room, Sari attacks and her hockey stick shatters. Hiding in Prowl's room until the Constructicons move on, she gets outside through a drainage pipe, re-enters through the melted front gate, and contacts the Autobots in the communication center. Unfortunately, they are taking a pounding from Blitzwing, so Bumblebee tells her to hide until they can get there. Unwilling to wait, Sari decides to set a trap, with some nice, delicious cans of oil. Predictably, the two neutrals walk in and see Sari with 3 barrels ready. Mixmaster demands the oil, despite Scrapper's fear that's it, a trap. He's right, for Sari uses the machines to dump it on the ground, causing Mix and Scrap to fall down and go boom and allowing her time to escape. Elsewhere, Blitzwing is dominating the Autobots, so Prime decides to end this with an Omega formation. Bumblebee goes in first, but his stingers do little damage. Then Bulkhead throws Prowl, allowing him to execute a high-speed kick, but Ratchet's attempt to finish off Blitzwing gets him taken hostage. At this point, however, Megatron orders Blitzwing to disengage, and he takes to the air. At the plant, Mix and Scrap decide to take down Sari, but Sari sets up the factory machines to thrash them, put them on the assembly line, get riveted, magnetized, and dumped on the ground. Mix finally calls it quits, and the two roll out. When the Autobots return, they fear the worst upon seeing the damage, but Sari shows up and tells them how she drove them off. Prime apologizes for doubting her and offers praise for her bravery and ability to drive off Mixmaster and Scrapper until he sees the candy wrappers. On the road, Mixmaster and Scrapper are still fleeing Sari when Blitzwing spots them. He offers them some oil, which Mixmaster remembers as the great stuff they previously had. He offers them more if they follow him, and the trio walk into the sunset. After all, Megatron has plans for them. Now serving under Megatron, the Constructicons have completed construction of the villain's space bridge. They are rewarded for their efforts by being officially branded as Decepticons, with a color change for their eyes and armor thrown into the bargain. At Megatron's instruction, Professor Sumdac fires up the bridge, but when it fails to activate due to the professor's simple lack of understanding of the technology, Megatron realizes that he will require additional help. On Earth's moon, Starscream gloats over 5 new clones seekers of himself, to which he is in the processing of putting the finishing touches. The final clone is completed and, like its fellows, brought online with a tiny chip of the AllSpark that gives Starscream life. Immediately, however, Starscream has to wrestle with the various wacky personalities the clones have wound up with, each one an exaggerated aspect of his own. A coward, a sycophant, an egomaniac, a pathological liar, and a short-tempered female who declares that Starscream not ask what aspect of his personality gave birth to her. Megatron contacts Shockwave on Cybertron in order to have him track down the top space bridge engineer on the planet. Shockwave is surprised to report that the engineer in question is on Earth. It's Bulkhead. Megatron decides to capture Bulkhead personally and instructs Lugnut and Blitzwing to pick up an item from Sumdac Tower to aid in convincing the Autobot to help them. When Lugnut points out that Sumdac cannot be trusted in the base alone, Megatron decides to take the professor with him. As all this scheming goes on, however, someone else is listening in, the mysterious Blue Racer that Bumblebee recently encountered. At the Autobot base, Bulkhead is working on his latest painting, an abstract rendition of Sari. Unfortunately, backseat artistry from the other Autobots winds up ruining the painting, and Bulkhead goes for a walk with Sari to vent a little. Bumblebee follows to apologize, but just as he catches up to them, Megatron appears in the sky overhead and opens fire. Using Sumdac as a human shield to stop the Autobots from firing back, Megatron continues to rain destruction down on the Autobots as Bumblebee and Sari argue over whether or not Sumdac has been working with Megatron. Suddenly, the Blue Racer speeds onto the scene, and Bumblebee, believing the enigmatic speedster to be working with Megatron, chases him off through the city and manages to run him off the road. When he attempts to report his success to Bulkhead, though, there's no response, Because Megatron has captured Bulkhead and is airlifting him away. Bumblebee's failure is compounded by the next turn of events. The Blue Racer reveals himself to be Blur, a fast-talking member of the Cybertron Elite Guard who has been covertly monitoring Megatron's activities. Back at the Decepticon headquarters, Bulkhead refuses to help Megatron, so the villain unveils the fruit of Blitzwing and Lugnut's labor, a headmaster unit. Faced with the threat of once again having his body taken over and being used to destroy his fellow Autobots and failing to elicit any help from Scrapper or Mixmaster, Bulkhead relents and agrees to work on the space bridge. At the Autobots' base, Blur relates his mission to Optimus Prime and company and brings them up to speed quite literally. While Prime leads the rest of the team to the Decepticon base, the location of which is provided by Blur, Ratchet, and Sorry head for Teletran 1 to try to get it online one last time. Just like last time, their efforts lead to nothing, forcing Ratchet to attempt one last drastic approach, using the AllSpark fragments the Autobots have gathered to jumpstart the ship's systems. Prime's team is led by Blur into the Decepticons' coal mine base, where they are immediately attacked by Lugnut and Blitzwing. The fight is a brief one, as Blur uses his super speed to bind the odd couple with stasis cuffs. Meanwhile, as the space bridge nears completion, Bulkhead insists on modifying many aspects of Sumdak's design, and winds up in an argument with the Human, which Sumdak interprets as Bulkhead, trying to sabotage the bridge deliberately. When the bridge is active, launches a brutal assault on an Autobot base defended by Rodimus Prime's crew. Cyclonus knocks down Brawn Iron, he's injured. Red Alert attempts to help but is captured and spat out by Spitter. Rodimus calls the Elite Guard for help, but Jazz tells him to hold out. On Cybertron, Longarm Prime reassures Ultra Magnus of Space Bridge security, then transforms into Shockwave, revealing his deception. Rodimus fights Stryka, then orders his team to protect the space bridge. Cyclonus and Spitter ambush them again, while Rodimus fends off Spitter. Blackout arrives, blasts Rodimus with a shockwave, and damages the bridge. Stryka scolds Blackout, who then reactivates the space bridge for Team Char's next move. Rodimus bravely stands his ground against Team Char, but Oil Slick mocks him and douses him with cosmic rust. Meanwhile, Stryka contacts Shockwave via the space bridge, demanding access codes to transwarp to Cybertron. Shockwave refuses, stating they must wait for Megatron, who is overdue. Stryka grows frustrated with the delay. Lab to investigate Sorry's origins by scanning his data. Meanwhile, Sorry refuses Ratchet's request to examine her robotic components, triggering Ratchet's memory of Arcee's surgery and her hidden Omega Supreme codes. Back at base, Optimus encourages Sorry to reconcile with her, fighting the Sumdacs and drawing the fight into the streets. After being briefly downed, Prime rallies while Isaac hides Sorry to protect her. Inspired, Sorry attacks the headmaster with her energy blasts, distracting him. Prime slams into him in truck mode and taunts him into transforming Starscream's body. The headmaster's unit is forcefully ejected during the transformation, and he's arrested by Fanzone. Sorry and Isaac reconcile, and Prowl reveals that Sorry likely originated from a Cybertronian protoform that scanned Isaac's DNA. The team is puzzled how a protoform got to Earth, but Ratchet's call about Bulkhead's injuries and Bumblebee's disappearance cuts the conversation short. He recalls activating Omega Supreme with access codes from Arcee. Back in the present, Bulkhead realizes Bumblebee was transwarped off-world by a plasma dynamic thruster. Sorry quickly repairs a retrieval beacon to locate him. Meanwhile, Megatron reactivates Omega Supreme using stasis cuffs and attempts to control his body. As Omega's headlights hit a nearby asteroid, it transforms into a rock lord, followed by more asteroids turning into rock monsters. Omega escapes via transwarp, unknowingly leaving Bumblebee behind. Bumblebee materializes and is swallowed whole by one of the massive rock lords. Bulkhead detects a transwarp signal and retrieves Bumblebee, unfortunately, along with the giant rock lord that swallowed him. The creature, agitated by sunlight, rampages through Detroit. Optimus locates Bumblebee's signal inside the monster and the Autobots pursue it. Prowl is surprised to see Ratchet using his EMP generator again, and Sari demands to help in battle with her new powers. Prime refuses, so Sari takes matters into her own hands. She inserts her key into a port in her chest and transforms into an older, armored combat form. Meanwhile, Megatron finds Omega Supreme offline again, with no power left in the stasis cuffs. Desperate, he herself. His fears are confirmed when the key overloads Sari's systems, causing her energy causing explosions with every step. The Autobots trap her with steel girders, and Prowl manages to remove the key from her chest, but Sari continues to lose control. As Bumblebee's condition worsens, Ratchet finally requests the key, but it's drained of power. Prowl encourages Ratchet to save Bumblebee without it, and the medic succeeds in reviving him. Meanwhile, Sari's energy surges dangerously, and Bulkhead's suggestion to suppress it backfires, pushing her to the brink of explosion. Optimus calls Ratchet, who arrives to use his EMP generator. Wasp is chased by Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, Sentinel Prime, and the Jet Twins, but he escapes and is captured by Swoop, who takes him to Black Arachnia. She manipulates Wasp by sympathizing with his betrayal over Black Arachnia's identity, but she interrupts them and tries to escape. Black Arachnia tells them that she only created him so she could experiment on how to change him back without the organic half, which could destroy him, and thus experiment on herself, claiming that going offline would be the price of science. But Waspinator was listening and turns on Black Arachnia. She notices that Waspinator's transwarp signature has become unstable and is chased out of the lab ship back to Cybertron. Black Arachnia and Waspinator appear to be transported to another location, perhaps Africa. Waspinator is in pieces but still functional. Black Arachnia is unharmed but realizes that she is surrounded by animals. Dr. Sumdac and Bulkhead are arguing over the newly built space bridge when Sari, displaying a mysterious new talent, manages to correctly correlate it. Perceptor, Cliffjumper, and Alpha Trion contact Sentinel Prime, who is returning to Cybertron with his prisoners. Alpha Trion is critical of Sentinel's insistence that he will be the new Magnus. Aggravated, Sentinel orders Jazz to take a shortcut home through what is apparently a cosmic storm. Although they make it through okay, lightning from the storm passes through the entire ship, reviving Swindle. He releases the Decepticons. Blitzwing returned to Earth with Magnus's hammer, and Sentinel is furious after being reprimanded for his reckless use of Fortress Maximus. Upon arriving, Ratchet and Fanzone discuss to stay and join Prime's team. Meanwhile, on Omega Supreme, Shockwave pledges loyalty to Megatron in his true Decepticon form. Megatron declares Shockwave his most loyal servant, enraging Lugnut with jealousy. On board, Arcee lies motionless, but as she gazes at Earth, she softly whispers, "Ratchet," suggesting her memory might still remain intact, offering a glimmer of hope for the Autobots. The Autobots discover Omega Supreme's energy signal on the moon. Rache insists on going there right away to save him, but Prime refuses, knowing that they are too weak to fight Megatron. Ratchet, Sari, and Professor Sumdac build flight boosters for Optimus to even the chances. Prowl tries to put the AllSpark back together using processor over matter. Meanwhile, Shockwave finally gets Arcee's codes and uses it on Proto. Also, do not forget to leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for similar content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next one.